Well, this video is going to take a while, so sit down, buckle up, get a beer, grab a coffee, grab a tea, do whatever you got to do. All right, well, today is, you guys probably read under the title, right? Today is another story time, and today's actually one that changed our lives, or changed her life the most. We were young. I mean, if you guys haven't watched the last story time, go ahead and watch it. Which side do I point? I forgot. It's not that. It's this side, right? Either way, you guys are gonna see it. Go watch that one first, and then come back and watch this one. But yeah, this came actually to a big surprise to both of us. You want to start with saying what happened, or what it is, or what's...
So I have a heart condition called Brugada Syndrome, and it's pretty much, I have the definition here. It's a genetic disorder in which the electrical activity within the heart is abnormal. So I can get like heart arrhythmias, or it could cause sudden death.
Yeah. And it's actually believed that, I don't know if you guys seen those soccer players that they're playing and then all of a sudden they just drop dead. They believe that like some of those have Brugada Syndrome. They also think that some of the people that go to sleep and they actually die in their sleep, they might have had Brugada Syndrome. Same thing with babies. That, you know, that'd be horrible. But, you know, their parents come and find them and they're already, you know, they're gone. Some of them, they believe they could have had Brugada Syndrome. So how was it that we found out that you had Brugada Syndrome? What happened?
So after I had Alexa, a week later, we were staying at my mom's because she was gonna help us out for the first like month or whatever, just with her to get like the hang of everything. And it was in the morning. I got up, I went to the bathroom, and then when I was washing my hands, I just like everything went black, and I got really scared. So by touching, I just opened the water and like put some on my face, and I got out of the bathroom.
Like, was it just like all black, or was it like tunnel vision?
It was like all black.
Huh.
And then I went out. Edward was in the living room.
I was getting ready to go to work.
And then I told him, I don't feel good, something's wrong. And he's like, what's wrong? And I just remember hugging him, and that was it. That's all I remember.
And I got scared because you came up and told me you were feeling good. I didn't realize it was that bad. I just thought, you know, she's just not feeling well. So I hugged her because she came and hugged me, and then all of a sudden I just felt her just limp, like no, I don't know. I was just holding her up. Then I went over there and sat her at the couch. Her mom ran and was sitting right next to her like this, but she was on the other side, just, you know, trying to wake her up. And then what I remember is you actually like woke up, but you started coughing like if you were gonna throw up.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I don't know, it was scary. You literally fainted.
Yeah. So like after that,
imagine you would probably fell straight to the floor
probably if you wouldn't grab me. If it would have happened in the bathroom too.
Yeah,
like
that's
just
scary.
A couple minutes before, and I would have fainted in the bathroom.
Imagine if you were locked the door. We would have to break the door.
Break it.
Break it. Once they took you to the hospital, because your mom took you. I actually went to work.
He actually went to work.
Yeah.
My mom got me and Alexa, and we drove to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, we obviously went straight to the...
It's Rocky.
We went straight to the emergency room. Mm-hmm. They got me in right away because I told them I fainted. They got me in right away, and then they checked my temperature,
but
everything,
the thing is
and
that
I had a really high temperature. Mm-hmm. And they told my mom, you should have called the ambulance because she's really like something's really not wrong. Okay with her, and her temperature is really high, mm-hmm. and we need to get her in right away. So they got me in. There was so many doctors in that room. It was just like I didn't know what to think about it. It was just so crazy. I was like, I don't know what's going on. They're doing all these tests on me, EKGs, blood tests. I couldn't even get up to go to the bathroom.
Well, you said that once you got there and they saw your EKG, that they put you in this room, right? And all the doctors from the ER came rushing into your room.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of doctors and people, and just they didn't know what was going on. They're doing all these tests on me. I asked a couple of times, can I go to the bathroom? And they're like, no, you can't get up because we don't know what's wrong with you. We don't want you to faint in the bathroom or on your way over there and get hurt or something. So my high fever was like, they couldn't get it down for a while. And then they moved me to another room. And I was still all like with machines and everything. I couldn't get up. Like, I hadn't seen Alexa the whole day. And I don't know what time you got to the hospital.
Actually, when we were working, and I think I don't know if I called your mom or she called me, but the thing was that, she let me know that I think it was your mom. I don't know who I was talking to, because I think your aunt was there too. And someone told me that it was actually pretty bad. And what happened was that I think we were about finishing up. We were literally finishing up because it was a small job or something, and we went straight to the hospital. I don't even remember if we finished it, but we went straight to the hospital, and we were all there just sitting there in the ER. And my head was going 1,000 miles an hour because I'm over here like, well, what's wrong? Because I don't even know. I knew nothing, right?
I knew nothing.
I'm like, she's been fine. It's just today she just didn't feel good. I want to see Alexa. I mean, she was on maybe a week old. Maybe?
She was like 6 days old.
6 days old. And I just wanted to see. I just wanted to see her. I just wanted to see where you were, what was happening. I had so many questions, And finally, they let me in, and I mean, I just saw you there in that bed and all hooked up. I'm like, wow, this is bad. I'm like, what's wrong?
I was overhearing all the doctors talk, and they were like, something is off with the EKG, because I got EKGs done and everything. Then when they moved me to the other room, I know it was really late, and I seriously thought that I was gonna get out that day. Mm-hmm. And then somebody came in and they're like, oh no, you're not getting out today. Mm-hmm. Like, you're gonna stay here. And I was like, no, what? Like, I don't want to be in the hospital.
And I stayed that night with you. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't even go home and change nothing. I stayed in my work clothes, and literally you had that small little bed in that ER, and there was like other beds around us, just the curtains covering us.
Yeah.
And I remember I was watching the Nuggets game. The Nuggets were playing,
and then like it was really late at night, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I asked. There was a nurse there, like, checking my
your chart,
my chart and all that stuff, and I asked her, like, do you know what's wrong? And she was like, oh, they haven't told you. I think you have a heart problem. And I just was like, what? And she's like, let me go double check. And she went.
Wait, was this that same night?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. You don't remember?
No.
And then she came back and she's like, oh no, don't worry about it. I read it wrong, or like she did something that it wasn't my chart or whatever.
You think she was trying to cover it up?
I don't know.
Maybe she wasn't supposed to say anything.
So like the night went by, and then the next morning, I was there again till like noon when the doctor came, and then he was like, you weren't even in the room. It was me and mi tia Irma. So it was just me and my aunt who were in the room, and then he comes in and he's like, so I have to tell you something. You have heart syndrome that can cause sudden death. And I just started bawling my eyes out. And my aunt, she didn't speak English, and she was like, what is wrong? She was like trying to get out of me what he was saying, and she was so mad because she couldn't understand. And she's like, what's wrong? Just let me know. Tell me so I can help you. Do I call your mom, your dad, Eder? Like, she didn't know what to do. And
was I at work now?
No. Everybody was like but I couldn't have so many visitors at once because it was like a smaller room.
Yeah.
So I remember that she like left the room and went to call you and my dad.
Yeah.
And you guys like talked to the doctor outside of the room.
See, what I remember is that I remember I was in the room with you. I know your aunt was in there. I know I left. I don't know where I went. I forgot. Maybe I went to go eat something from the vending machine or something. And then I came back. Your dad was... I don't even think your dad was there yet. I was there, and then the doctor told us again what was going what was going on, because you told me, hey, I have this, and I was kind of shocked. And then within 5 minutes your dad gets there, and then me and then your dad and I, we walk outside of the room to talk to the doctor one-on-one, you know, to kind of ask him like
What's up?
you know, if you were gonna die. And the doctor just kind of stood quiet. He's like, no. He said no, but she does have this heart syndrome that can cause her to die at any moment. Like, this could have happened if you were a little girl, or if you were 25, or if you were 30, or, you know, it could happen at any moment.
It could still happen at any moment.
Yeah, it could still happen at any moment. The thing is that I got cold. Like I was in shock. There was tons of things going in my head, because I'm like, well, my biggest fear was for her to die and for me to have this newborn, week-old little baby. I'm 18 years old. I'm also a kid, and I could imagine me not having my partner there with me, you know, to experience this new thing. The only thing I would have would just be the baby, right? But the scariest part was like, what if she, you know, she leaves, you know, goes away, or I don't know. It was scary. Your dad was very, very, very quiet. Wow, because I was translating to my father-in-law. I was letting him know, and he literally had me ask the doctor like 5 times if he was sure that she had what she had, because I think he was in shock too. I don't think he believed it neither, but yeah, I don't know, it was crazy.
Yeah. So they told me that there's nothing to do. Obviously it has no cure, but that they can use a device called a defibrillator. It's kind of like a pacemaker that I would get, in case I would faint, or my heart rate would go so high or low,
Or if it would just stop.
Or if it would just stop, it would shock me. I always describe it like it's like one of those machines that you like rub together and then you shock people. That's exactly what it's gonna do to me in case of anything. After that day, they moved me to my regular room, because they explained to us that my heart condition, I've always had it, but it never showed until that particular day.
Yeah.
They told me that what might have triggered it was the high fever. I had an infection, so that obviously gave me a high fever, which triggered then the heart condition. So they moved me up to another room. They told me in order for us to be able to put that pacemaker on you, we have to be clear on the infection. So I had to stay there for 5 days.
What type of infection was it?
It was just like a breast infection, because I had too much milk.
Too much milk.
And it like clogged or whatever, and it caused me to get an infection. So they were gonna keep me in all these machines, so I can get rid of the infection, and then they would do the pacemaker thing. We were there for 5 days. My mom was taking care of Alexa at the time, so she would bring her during the day, and then because they would come every day and visit me. I had to call the nurses every single time I had to get up to go to the bathroom, because they wanted to make sure everything was okay. And Yeah, we were just there for 5 days. Well, yeah, like
It seemed
6.
longer to me. It seemed way longer to me because
Eder was with me every single day. He didn't leave the hospital.
the only time I would leave was maybe to work, but I don't even think I went to work.
I don't think you went to work.
I don't
either.
think I went to work. I literally lived in the hospital with you. I was on that vending machine diet, the best one.
You know, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff, Pop Tarts, and you know, all that junk
I wasn't
food.
Eating,
and
I was eating good. Cause
yeah, you were actually eating hospital food. I couldn't eat from the hospital, you know, and I don't know. It was tough because you knew you had a baby at home, or you know wherever she was with my, you know, where we were staying at the time for that help. And you can't have her there. You can't experience all these things. Another thing that we didn't tell you guys was that when Alexa was born, she actually had some
issues with her hips.
With her hips. So her hips, her leg bone didn't like kind of go in the socket where the hip goes, and so she had to be in a harness for 24 hours. She couldn't take it off at all. But that's a different story. We'll show you guys something. Maybe pictures if we have some. And I remember one of those times I was literally from hospital to hospital because I was with you, and then I had to go to the hospital with Alexa.
Yeah.
So
to get her
harness adjusted, because I think it was a weekly thing.
Yeah.
And see how she was doing. So, but that was separate, and it was like, man, I you know, you want to have her there.
Everybody's in the hospital. I should be in the hospital.
Yeah, and. You know what? Like, I hate saying this, right? But sometimes going back to those memories, it's hard stuff. And I mean, I'm not saying. I think we have a very special story. Of course, it's ours, right? But I don't think a lot of people could have survived not survived, but gone through with what we gone through. I think we were just kind of in autopilot and just kind of going through the motions. I mean, being super young, being pregnant, trying to make a living, trying to, you know, have a family, start something, and then, you know, this hits, having the baby, but you know, your heart syndrome, and it's scary. You know, it's like what's next? You just don't know what's on the other side of the door, and but I was coming back at even through all that, like I look back and I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I loved when you know, I tell you, hey, can I lay down with you in your bed, right? And then we would lay there and watch TV. And one show that we would always watch was Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandel. I think they're actually about to make a comeback. But you know, and it was a show we would always watch every night. We already knew at what time and everything, and just that vending machine food, you know, it was it was cool. You know, we had friends come over and bring us food, and we would have family members come over and bring me food sometimes too. Yeah, and how about once the infection cleared?
Once the infection cleared, they did like
surgery.
A test run for the surgery, like
a prep.
I don't know if it's a prep, but like they actually like got me in the operating room and like tested my heart and did all these kinds of tests. Not all of my EKGs showed that I had Brugada Syndrome, which was really weird to the doctors. They're like, it's so weird that only some of them show it and not all of them. I was like, after all that time I spent in the hospital getting EKGs and stuff, I've never gotten another EKG with a Brugada Syndrome there. So after 5 days, I think it was, they told me that I was clear, that I could go in and get the surgery. They told me it was going to be like a 2-hour surgery. It ended up being like a 5-hour surgery. I don't know.
Forever.
Yeah, it took forever. So I remember I couldn't eat since the day before. I was really hungry. And then I went in, I said bye to Eder, my parents, and everybody, and then they got me in. The last thing I remember was I was
Unicorns?
just unicorns. I literally was like laying down and my arms were out. There was a sheet here, like if I was gonna get a C-section. And then I was looking at a lot of TVs. They had like 8 TVs. And then one of the nurses, she was like, don't, like the doctor sings a lot, so don't get annoyed because it's gonna take a while. So I was awake for I think half of it, and then the other half.
Wait, half of the surgery?
Yeah, half of the surgery.
Like awake?
Like I could feel when they were like.
So they just numbed the spot.
Yeah, it sounded like scissors cutting through. I don't know, like silk. I don't know. It's so weird. Like that feeling, it was so weird. I couldn't feel anything, but I felt like a little bit of pressure and the sound. I could hear everything.
Oh.
So, after like a couple of pulls that I felt, like I was like completely out. And
I was gonna say you should show them the scar.
And then
we'll get to that at the end, so stay tuned.
And then when I woke up, they told me that like I went in under because they had to test it to see if the defibrillator was gonna actually work. So obviously I can't remember. I didn't feel anything, but I got out and it was already like 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And I remember like they took me to like a recovery room and they let all my family see me after hours, because it was like already the visitor hours were
time. By it's because the thing was that you were out of surgery, but it took a while for you to wake up. Not like hours, but it wasn't like if you were awake right away. And even if you were awake, you weren't like fully there.
Yeah.
You were like in and out. It was weird.
So like I had all my family visit me. I couldn't, like, it would hurt to laugh. Mm-hmm. I couldn't move my arm. Mm-hmm. So I had to wear like a sling for a while. Mm-hmm. And I got out the next day in the morning. Yeah. Right after they were like, okay, you have no more infection, you're good to go. So I got out.
Yeah. And
that's that. I've had it for 11 years.
11 years now. You already had it replaced.
I already had it replaced because it's battery powered.
It's battery powered.
So
we need Elon Musk to create a new one.
So
a wireless charger.
Seriously. Why can't I get like the phone ones that you just put it on top so I can just like lay on it or something?
Yeah.
So after, when was it? 2013 when I got it replaced. 6 years after the first time. They told me it was gonna last 10 years, but it actually turned on, shocked me a couple times, and that lowered the battery life.
That should be another story, when it turned on, because that was scary. That was real scary. We were clubbing.
And then I got it replaced in 2013, and they told me they were better, but they still were battery powered. So the other one was supposed to last 12 years, and I still have 8.5 years to go. So,
and actually the defibrillator's not like in your chest. It's actually in between your
you can feel it and you can see it.
It's kind
of hard. I don't know if you can see the scar.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to. Your hair right there.
There's a scar. You can feel it if you touch it. It feels like it's like a big square. Well, like el corazón del pedimiento. It's like a big. It's like this size, and it's like there. It has two.
You're kind of like Iron Man, but it doesn't shine through.
That's right. I'm Iron Man. And it has 2 little wires that go to my heart in case my heart does something crazy. Then they're there to shock me and bring me back to life. You can't get rid of me.
Yeah. The only scary part, the only thing that kind of scares me is that it's genetic.
Yeah.
So we have to test the kids out every so often. Just in case of Brugada Syndrome, if they carry it. You know, it could be that maybe 20 more generations pass by and maybe it pops up there, you know.
Because it hasn't really shown up in my family.
Yeah, because your family all of them got tested and nobody.
I think my my mom. I don't
Oh,
know
just
about
them two?
Yeah, but yeah, like we don't know where it comes from. I was the lucky one.
Yeah, I guess you were the chosen one.
I was. It was hard at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally traumatized.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing that scares me the most is like if it turns on while I'm driving. I get it checked every 6 months, so I go to the cardiology department twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
They pace my heart, so they make it go fast. And then they check. The defibrillator is able to like save the times my heart's been up high or really low. Mm-hmm. So then when I go with them, they can see what's been going on, and they will ask me, what were you doing on this day at this time, if you remember.
Well, the hardest part for me, after the surgery, the hardest part was actually, since you only had one arm functioning,
Yeah.
I was the one waking up with Alexa, feeding her, changing her diapers, in the middle of the night, which, I mean, I've done with all 3 kids, but...
Not with the baby.
Yeah, I did a lot with the baby. I let you take a little bit more of the reins with the baby
because I
did it. Because I did it. I did it with Alexa and Michelle. But the hard part there was that everything was new to me.
Yeah.
Everything was new to me. She would cry a lot, and we're guessing it's because maybe she was itchy. Imagine being in a harness and you can't move. You can't.
It's called a harness.
What did I say?
Harnessed.
Oh, I guess a harness, right? So imagine a baby being stuck in a certain position and they can't move.
24/7.
Of course they're gonna cry. They're gonna be uncomfortable. They're gonna be itchy. They're gonna hot.
Cold.
But that was hard though, because you didn't. So tired. I was like in zombie mode. Because then I would have to go. I had to go to work.
Yeah.
There's no other way. I had to go to work.
Yeah.
Luckily, look, we're
Lucky
here. No, it's a good thing. I mean, even
at
though
least they have 8.5 years to go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. And maybe by then they have, some
wireless charging.
awesome
Defibrillators. Anybody out there?
Yeah. And if you guys don't know the difference between pacemaker and defibrillator, I guess the pacemaker actually controls the beat of your heart.
And the
This one
defibrillator doesn't.
It's only there as a backup in case if anything happens.
It'll shock
It'll
me.
give you a good jolt. Like that'll restart your heart. Yeah. But scary stuff. But you know what? Even if we went through stuff like that, you having to go through the surgery, spending those nights in the hospital, getting those shots in your stomach.
That was some.
Bere had to, so she wouldn't get blood clots. She would have to get some injections in her stomach at night.
They were so painful. You can't rub them. It's just.
It sucked.
That was like out of everything, that was the worst part. Because not even like, yes, knowing that I can die any minute, it's bad, I guess.
Yeah.
But at that moment, it was like it was the same nurse every single day, and I would just see her come through the doors, and I was like, no.
Yeah, and she would even say sorry. I'm sorry.
She's like, I'm sorry, I have to do it. You know the run, you can't rub it, and I would just put my hands in my stomach and press on it.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Storytime. Just follow our journey. We have more stories. We have embarrassing stories. Well, I have embarrassing.
He has a lot of embarrassing
real
stories.
Bad embarrassing stories.
I have real life situations.
Yeah. But hey, my stuff is real life situations too. Those embarrassments are pretty bad.
I remember when I first went to my first appointment with the cardiology department. The doctor was like, I imagine an old lady, because I've never seen a person so young have this.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, the doctor told me that you were going to be the youngest patient that he heard of. That he heard of. So maybe there's other cases, right? That he heard of getting a defibrillator installed for Brugada Syndrome at this age. We were just 18. So if you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying our story time, we would love for you to hit that like button, to subscribe. You know, if you're new to this to our videos, to go ahead and subscribe. If you've heard of this syndrome before, if somebody has been affected, a family member of yours, because maybe some people are going to be searching for Brugada Syndrome, we want to hear your story. We want to hear how you found out. We want to hear maybe if you have another syndrome that we don't know of, or just any syndrome. What has your experience been?
Any crazy story.
Any crazy story like that, comment down below. We'll be
Reading the comments.
And commenting back to make a conversation with you guys. We haven't heard of nobody having Brugada syndrome. It's rare. I haven't seen any other person that would tell me, oh yeah, I have a defibrillator for Brugada. Of course, it's not going to come up, but within conversations, it's been 11 years. We haven't heard of one person having it, so it's pretty rare. But yeah, guys, we love that you guys are watching our videos, and we're just excited to keep pumping them out. And remember, we'll be uploading every Tuesday and Thursday. At least that's the plan, and maybe even bonus videos during the week. So stay tuned to the channel. Any last words, baby? Nothing?
Thank you for watching.
Yep. All right. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.